Good morning, traders. This is your daily market breakdown. On the daily time frame on the GBP USD, we can see that we have been trending upward. Last week was fantastic, played very nicely into our technicals where the price came up, it grabbed liquidity, it came back down into a lower time frame demand zone and is now pushing into the upside. So I am certainly looking for long positions this week on the GBP USD. Luckily, there has been less speculative news going around about the Middle East peace talks, and I think that they are sending a delegation over to Islamabad, so this is looking rather promising. And what that means is if it goes through relatively well, DXY is going to come down and GU is going to push up even higher. So we're in a really nice position at the moment for long positions on the GU. What I am waiting for at the moment is to see this get broken here. So once this line is broken, what I'm hoping to see is that the price will come up. There will be some type of reaction here that will have a shallow pullback. Within that shallow pullback, I would then on a lower time frame be looking for potential entry positions and targeting the previous highs up here into this, I think it's the weekly or the daily potential target. I think this is the daily one, targeting this daily potential supply zone up here. So what I'll mostly be doing is just waiting for the London session to start, see it how that market plays out, or even wait until Tuesday. But I'll be waiting just to see whether or not the price then retraces back down to this level and then pushes up even higher. Similarly for the Euro US dollar, very nicely on the 4-hourly frame, you can see that the price came up, it broke market structure into the downside. If you had shorted this market last week down to this now verified demand zone, and we wait for this beautiful breaker structure, so you would have hit your target here, bouncing off that EMA. If you would have then entered into a long position, you should be looking at some pretty nice gains at the moment. Let's drop down to the hourly frame. So this has been quite beautiful. On the hourly frame, we can see that the market pushed up, it broke this market structure into the upside and then came back down for that retest. It has touched, it would have been nicer to have a little bit of a deeper push. But then if you had entered into that long position, you should be seeing some you should see a pretty positive move into the upside sometime this week. So again, I am I'll keep that on for now. So I am pretty bullish on the euro dollar as well. Yeah, so if you're looking to enter into a position, then that might be a pretty good position to enter into. And we'll likely want to see what happens when the price reaches this price point here. There might be quite a bit of a pullback. It wouldn't go as far. I don't think it will break the weekly, hopefully not. So you want to wait until see what happens when the price enters into here. And if there is then a nice pullback, within that pullback, then look for a potential long entry targeting these highs, or even targeting the potential liquidity up here. So again, this will be my setup for this week with the euro dollar. Heading over to USD JPY, wonderful. It has now entered into that verified supply zone. What I am now waiting for, some on the 4-hourly frame, would be to see a nice breaker structure into the downside. If I see that break of structure, then I would likely enter into a position targeting these previous lows over here. Another play on the lower time frames, I'll have to go down and take a look, is that maybe we'll see a nice breaker structure here, a retest coming back up before then it pushing into the downside. So I would be a little bit cautious there, although I would have my stop loss pretty high above this supply zone anyway. And I don't see the US dollar pushing up higher unless some unexpected surprise happens in the Middle East. So this is playing really nicely. I am bearish on the USD JPY, and once this low gets broken with a full body break, then I'll be looking to enter into a short position. We'll probably see something such as this. I'll put my stop loss just above this previous zone here, targeting these previous lows, or at least a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, 1 to 2.5. You can go to 1 to 3, completely up to you. I want to be a little bit conservative on this, but I have been waiting for this drop for quite some time. So I am bearish on the JU this week, waiting for that to be broken, and then I can enter into that position. So heading over to the DXY, my goodness, after the weekend, the market opened crushingly high. Look at that, a lot of volume pushed the price incredibly high into the upside, but then it just dropped down dramatically, leaving such a large gap. What is this? I have not seen this ever on the charts. What an incredible, something majorly odd went wrong here. I don't know whether this is on the technical side or somebody is really bullish on the DXY. Perhaps somebody knows something we do not. Look at this. This is quite unheard of, considering that the price pushed up. Let's go down to the minute. Yeah, it was a minutely candle as well, a 1 minute candle. How does that make any sense? Okay, well, luckily for anybody who is versed in trading, you do not hold your positions over the weekend, and for these exact reasons. Anyway, so what we can see is that the price came up. Let's just ignore this candle for the time being. This is a ridiculous sometime manipulation. I'll take a look into why that happened, but that is incredibly uncommon. However, we saw on the higher time frames that the price came down, it re-entered into that supply zone. We now see a beautiful breaker structure into the downside. This is now signaling that the price is in fact going to continue down, hopefully, although this candle kind of gives us an indication that it might go up, who knows. So what we're then maybe going to see is that the price retrace slightly before then pushing aggressively into the downside, and then I will just be waiting for this breaker structure with a full body break on the 4-hourly. What we may see is that little pullback, come back up, retesting this previous support zone, or a new supply zone being formed before we move down aggressively into the downside. And this will play really nicely into all of our other setups for this week. So we're going to be bullish on all the major pairs, bearish on the USD DXY throughout this week. So now let's jump over to gold, XAU. It is struggling. It is struggling to push down lower, which is good, but we're also seeing a struggle to push up higher, which is rather frustrating. So we're in a bit of a consolidating market at the moment. For me personally, I don't really want to enter into any positions, mainly because what we're seeing is that we are in a bullish trend. We have been pushing up, creating these higher highs. We are now seeing this breaker structure into the downside, this change of character. We are now seeing the price trying to push lower. And as you know, historically, if we apply our candlestick pattern, a descending flag or descending triangle indicates very bearish momentum. And we are seeing that at the moment. We're seeing too many pushes to this line. And so if it breaks, we're likely just going to fall maybe to one of these previous demand zones down here. If we do end up breaking above, I would still be very, very cautious, because we have this potential area here, and that could be the kicker, the platform to push it down. We have this area up here, which again could be, I don't think it'll go that high, could then push it down as well. So I don't know where the market is truly wanting to go. I'm staying out of trading XAU this week until a trend becomes more clear. BTC, USDT, absolutely wonderful. It played very, very nicely. Unfortunately, it didn't come back down to this unverified demand zone before then pushing itself up higher, but we have been bullish throughout all of last week. We know that the price came down, it pushed up, beautiful breaker structure. Came back down, beautiful breaker structure. A new demand zone was created, unverified, but the price didn't quite come down as much. I think, what's this, a retrace to 1.3%? I came to the Fibonacci 1.5%. And that would have been a really nice entry point. For now, I am genuinely waiting for this price to come back down a little bit. I don't think it will break this low from now on. So hopefully we'll see something like this, a new unverified demand zone get created, and then we'll see a push into the upside, breaking this market structure. And if we zoom out to the daily on BTC, we can see we have quite a lot of room to grow. I still am thinking that if everything goes relatively well in the news and the conflicts, then we are likely going to see a break of the $90,000 mark on BTC relatively quite soon. Let's see if we can break above this 200 EMA, and all the indicators are showing that we are changing character into the upside. So I am still quite bullish, although I don't personally trade BTC in my trading as much as you guys probably do. So I'll leave that up there. And there it is, traders. That is your daily market breakdown.